Hey everyone, welcome to episode 7 of the How to Pitch Games podcast. I'm Corey from the Biz Dev and Licensing team here at tinyBuild Games. If you're new here, take a second, hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss a pitchy episode ever again. As usual, we've got 2 excellent games to look at and an extra awesome panel. First, we got a new special guest, Claire Barilla, a producer who has worked all across the industry from Astrologica to Secret Mode. Claire, welcome to How to Pitch Games. How are you? What indie games are you playing right now?
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm doing all right. It's a bit cold. Winter's hit, and it's just hit very hard suddenly. So I'm gonna do the very English thing and complain about the weather first. That's normal. But I'm doing good. Indie games that I'm playing at the moment. So one of the games that I work on recently did a cross promo with a game called Bongo Cat. I don't know if people know about Bongo Cat. It's just a cat that sits on your computer screen and just bongos all day. We did a cross promo skin with them, but I've been playing all the other games, all the other indie games that were in the cross promo with us. So I've been playing The Berlin Apartment, Constance, and it's called Cloud Scraper. All 3 of those are great. I would highly recommend checking it out. I'd played The Berlin Apartment before, but they just did the full release, so I've been playing that full game. So that's really good, but I would highly recommend checking those other ones out. And then Turnbound, the one that I'm working on.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I can't wait for Constance after Silk Song, just still hitting that Metroidvania itch. Also joining us today is another noob to the podcast from the Orange tinyBuild tent, our head of publishing, Artem Bakarev. Artem, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Thank you for having me today.
Awesome. Really excited to have you on the pod today. Now for the pitch question of the day, my favorite segment. When you're pitching a game for the first time to a funder or a publisher, guys, what's the best way to start or lead off your pitch? Artem, we'll start with you.
That's a great question. And I think that it's a really important one because you basically setting the tone for the whole pitch and you basically setting expectations as well. So if you don't have any, I don't know, like notebook, don't have anything, prepare your killer, like basically killer pitch idea of the game, like extremely short, 1 sentence, and spit it out immediately, right after saying hello. If you have, I don't know, phone or anything, just show it immediately. This is what I want you to talk about, what I want to talk about. And that's basically creates different meaning to everything that you're going to say after. So who's the team, what's the game about, how it plays, what's the platform. So anything, any mechanics gonna already lay down on the ground that you set with your opener. How the game looks, how the game feels, how the game, what is it about. Again, in the worst case scenario, you always have your extremely short pitch, but if you can show it, please do. That works best for me.
Love it. Start strong. It's a great tip. Claire, what about you?
Not dissimilar to your answer. I think whenever I hear, like, whenever I'm like, oh, that was a good pitch or a good start, it's usually the ones that tell a story. And it doesn't need to be like literally like a narrative game or the story of the game. It can be the story of the feeling the player gets when they play it. It's like, we want the players to walk away from this game having lost 3 hours of time. We want them to get hyperfixated. I want to hear like the player's story and experience. It can be, we want them to get lost in deep systems, or we want them to get lost in the world or the fantasy. I want to understand what the story is and the world that you're going to deliver to players.
Right. Leading with the experience as well is super important, since that's what gamers are looking for. Thank you so much, guys. Those are great tips. Let's get to the pitches. All right, let's say hello to David and Jeremy from Electric Laughbag Studios in the great city of Toronto with their point-and-click comedic adventure, Dumb Sherlock. Kind of a Nathan Fielder vibe going on there. Hey, guys, welcome to the podcast. Tell us, why do comedy and mystery go so well together, and why are you doing it in the game?
Well, yeah, thanks for having us. I think comedy and mystery both kind of rely on sort of flipping expectations and discovering something new, right? In a mystery, if it's too straightforward, it's boring, and I think that's true of comedy too. If you're expecting the punchline to a joke, you're not going to laugh. But both follow a sort of um, like duck duck goose pattern where if you hit duck every time it's just the same thing, but the goose is what makes you get up off your feet and go. And I think that's true for both comedy and mystery.
Awesome. Well, excited to learn more. Let's get to the pitch. Okay, here is our pitch for Dumb Sherlock, the video game. Dumb Sherlock, the video game, is an adaptation of our tragically unmade 2023 sitcom Dumb Sherlock. We are first-time developers David Tobiasz, hello, that's me, and Jeremy Friedmann.
Hey, that's me.
By day, we're TV writers, but we're also big fans of 2D point-and-click adventure games, so we decided to adapt our unmade sitcom Dumb Sherlock into a 2D point-and-click video game.
Indeed, we did. So let me introduce Dumb Sherlock, the video game. It's an indie 2D point-and-click mystery adventure game where you play as Dumb Sherlock, the world's dumbest detective and last living descendant of the brilliant original Sherlock Holmes. You investigate a story-rich game world, interrogate a memorable cast of NPCs, beat cozy puzzles and minigames, and solve a hilarious whodunit alongside your loyal partner and best friend Watson. Your quest is to live up to the Holmes family name and manifest your destiny as the world's greatest detective, which is no small feat when you're such a dumb Sherlock.
The game's unique selling points, I think, are threefold. One is it's a laugh-out-loud escapist comedy. We are trying to write the funniest video game ever made. Number two, it's highly replayable, especially for a 2D point-and-click adventure game, because we've built this kind of emergent narrative and character development loop into the game. So no two playthroughs are the same. And then lastly, it's a fresh original take on Sherlock Holmes, and we think that will help the game's discoverability and word of mouth.
Indeed, everyone knows the original Sherlock Holmes, but prepare to meet Dumb Sherlock. Dumb Sherlock is the great-great-grandson of the original Sherlock. He's a lanky, eccentric, clumsily manifesting his destiny to become the original Sherlock's worthy heir as the world's greatest detective. That's how he says it, of course. What he lacks in intelligence, he makes up for in sincerity, dedication, and incompetence. And also, awesome underpants.
And his loyal partner, Watson, Dumb Sherlock's best friend and detective partner since childhood. She's a rebellious and charming bon vivant whose shambolic life of sex, detective work, and rock and roll mask deeper personal and professional insecurities. No relation to the original Watson, smarter than Dumb Sherlock, but still very dumb. All right, now a quick introduction to the game loop. So it's a pretty straightforward 2D point and click. Clicks we call inspections. So you're going to be moving Dumb Sherlock around scenes and clicking things to investigate a game length whodunit mystery. When you click on things, different things can happen. You can earn inspection points, which unlock new objects, NPCs, puzzles, and minigames and help you advance to the next scene. You can earn reputation points, which feed into the reputation meter and unlock customizable character elements and the different sort of game states that feed into replayability. But watch out, something that can happen when you click on the wrong thing is a blunder, which will decrease Dumb Sherlock's reputation meter.
So we think the reputation meter is a pretty unique thing. Basically, it shapes the emergent nature of the game world. So Dumb Sherlock's reputation determines which pop-ups, sound cues, animated cutscenes, and NPC dialogue trees are called for each inspection. So the higher Dumb Sherlock's reputation, aka the smarter he is, or less dumb, as the case may be, the more favorably he's treated by NPCs and running public commentary, which is embedded in dynamic features like newspaper headlines, radio spots, TV reports, and social media posts that will pop up and vary throughout the game depending on your reputation. So players determine how dumb to make their Dumb Sherlock, and the game world modulates accordingly. So basically, you'll be following clues and investigating a mystery over branching story paths, where some paths will lead to dead ends, which you can see on our little graphic here are the red tiles, and others will lead forward in the story. Those are the blue tiles. Then there are also some yellow tiles, which are sort of stops along the way that are required to complete the correct or blue paths. Players will unlock new locations by completing puzzles and minigames in the correct path. New scenes within a given location are then unlocked by inspecting particular items or having conversations with certain NPCs.
All right, getting to the end of the pitch. Some comparison games I think probably come top of mind: Duck Detective, later Alligator, and a very recent hit, Thank Goodness You're Here, as well as the classic sequel, Return to Monkey Island. So very much in the 2D point and click space. We have, as first-time developers, built a proof of concept that would encourage folks to go out and try. Please have a play and let us know what you think. And that is it for our pitch. Looking forward to your feedback.
Thanks for the pitch, guys. That was filled with a lot of fun giggles. Let's kick it over to the panel for their thoughts.
Yeah, I might be getting a little bit too into the technical systems for the scope of this, so let me know and pull me back if you need to. But I'm kind of curious, like, what are your reward mechanisms and what is going to be the, like, I feel like I understand the loop and I understand what you're going to be like how you're going to be driving the story forwards, but how are you going to basically be incentivizing the player to keep trying to solve mysteries and keep trying to like I want to understand also like the reward between getting something wrong and like being a dumb Sherlock versus like, is that going to give me a funnier result as a player, or am I going to get am I trying to also solve the mystery and like get the right answers? So I think I want to try and understand how you plan on rewarding each of those options. When you think about like narrative games and games that are point and click that have a mystery element to them, a lot of, and especially if you're doing something that's a comedy, you want to make sure that even the wrong answers can be funny, and that sometimes it's funnier to pick the wrong answer. So I'm curious how you're going to do that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, I mean, I think you touched on the answer really towards the end there, which is like on a click-by-click basis, we really want to bundle big laughs into every single click. So when you click something wrong, you're going to get a joke. When you click something right, you're going to get a joke. And we think that creates a kind of incentive system as well as a reward system to keep players clicking through scenes. At more of like a structural level, we do have a couple sort of reward systems. One is like a collection system where when you complete a puzzle game, you will get a new book on Dumb Sherlock's office bookshelf. So it plays into that kind of like completist sort of itch, and it allows you to scratch that. As well, throughout the game at key junctures, we're going to kind of signpost your reputation status. So like at the end of Act 1, you would get a certain kind of achievement milestone based on your performance to date. So those are sort of 3 tiers of rewards that come to my mind.
Yeah, and to be clear, when David talks about getting a book on Sherlock's shelf, our dumb Sherlock is not much of a reader himself. We say that in the game, but we want to kind of harken back to the origin of Sherlock Holmes. So we decided books were a good example there. Another thing that the player can collect as they go through will be closet items. So that's why we mentioned underpants. There is a feature where you basically collect different boxer shorts or underpants throughout the game. And you can try them on in there. You won't really see them outside of the closet because they're under his pants. But we'll have those. There will also be some other things like some tattoos you can put on his body or some jewelry that will be collected throughout. And then
Does he sleep in the hammock?
well, it's more Watson's hammock. She's kind of a swinger, as he says. Um, but yeah, he tries the hammock. He falls out of it a lot.
It's difficult for him to get
very
into the
clumsy.
attic.
Yeah. Another thing that sort of will reward the player as they continue through the mystery and pick up clues is the mystery board in their office will sort of fill up as they go with items you've seen or collected or people you've talked to. So when you start the game, it'll be pretty empty, but as you go through, it'll populate itself, and we think that'll also keep the player invested and drive them forward.
I have more technical-ish questions, but I'm happy to save them for after other people have given feedback.
Okay, yeah, let's move to me. Thank you, Claire. First of all, yeah, thank you for the pitch, and thank you for such a great genre for the game, because I have so many fond memories from my childhood. It's one of my favorite genre, honestly, and especially with like humor and absurdist like point of view. All this like games like, I don't know, Maniac Mansion or like Goblins, or yeah, love this. So about pitch, I have like one pretty big, I would say, concern or comment. I think that right now the pitch describing the game pretty good in details, but I don't think that it's actually achieving what pitch usually must achieve. For example, if it's pitch for looking for funding, или for publishing the game, it kinda must sell the game, and it requires some specific structure. Right now, here we're basically telling about mechanics, telling about different elements. But for example, I don't know how fun the game is. I don't know how the game plays. I don't know how you like smartly wrote it. And when we usually creating pitch deck for the game, we are opening with, for example, GIF, right, or like short video, which explains how the game plays, which basically create an immersion for you that you understand what you feel when you play in the game. You have point and click, which means that with GIF or screenshots, it's pretty like non-immersive thing. And to be fully immersed, I think that you should like just show 1 minute or 30 seconds of segment when uh, let it be the funniest segment of the game. Let it be like the best. When I can see interactions, when I see jokes, when I can see why it's funny to misclick, when I can see why it's funny to do something. Keep it short, but keep it understandable, because if you show it right at the beginning, everything else that they're gonna talk about gonna make much more sense. Because right now, when you're talking about laugh out loud escapist comedy, I haven't seen that. When you're talking about gameplay, I haven't seen that. So I think that gonna create completely different flow for the pitch deck. If you can imagine, for example, you referenced Thank Godness You're Here game, amazing one. If you can imagine pitch deck for this game, you probably can agree that it's going to be like 20 pages describing mechanics, characters, or you could just show 15 seconds and you're going to understand everything about the game and you're going to love it, right? So in your case, I think creating such 15 seconds gonna be like the best thing that you can do for the pitch. What else? Game loop page. Also, I think that it's important in the game, but not that important in the presentation. Yeah, this one. For example, like Blunder, right? You basically have like a slide, dedicated time to talk about that, but I don't think that's important for the pitch. It's important only in the game. And again, if in your short video there are going to be some fun interaction with Blunder, that's it. You already showed that. Narrative structure, again, really interesting one, but it like a little bit of like deep dive for game design, because in general, when you describe the genre, when we see how it plays, and if you say that you have non-linear structure, that's already enough. You're saving yourself some time, not creating another flight, and you can talk more about more maybe exciting stuff. The last probably comment, if you I saw that you have a prototype, amazing, that's perfect. This is the final visual of the game, so you have visual of the prototype. Is this something that you have in mind for the final version?
Yeah, our final visuals will look a little bit different. I mean, the art style is going to be more or less the art style, but we've definitely made it a little, well, I'd say a lot better for the actual game. This was our early prototype. It looks a little more. Again, we're not going to have AAA art ever, but it will look a little more sort of South Parky in the final version. There's more, drop shadow. There's more texture to it. There also are cutscenes that are more, dynamically animated. But yeah, this was sort of our first whack at it. And at least we can put something together where you can move around in the environment. We're happy with it at the time, but we've definitely made some improvements since then.
Okay.
The visual identity will stay the same. It'll just be a kind of elevated version of what you see on screen.
Perfect. But yeah, that's great. In this case, again, if you have at least like noticeable changes in the final version that like can be different, it's worth having like a mock-up, just one screenshot, for example, that gonna show, okay, this is the final quality, because right now it's just not clear how the final game look like, and that's why I'm asking the question. In ideal scenario, this question must be answered during the presentation, so we can again talk about more exciting stuff, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that's the biggest one. Yeah.
I think that it would serve you guys to start your pitch with the story of the game. Like in a world, I think in your other deck that you sent, the plot is about hot dogs. Hot dogs of the Bakerville, right? So it's a spate of mysterious food poisonings, right? Like starting off with something really funny, right? Hot dogs are poisoning everyone, and it's up to you, right? So we like to hear that. Like you are like the player fantasy is like you're the dumbest detective ever. How are you going to do this, right? Like starting off with the stakes sometimes is really powerful and gives us a sense of what the player experience will be, right? Whose shoes you're in, and then starting with like it's like this experience meets that, right? This meets that sometimes is also an amazing way, very simple but understandable way, certainly for funders, to kind of get a sense of like what you're going for in terms of the minute-to-minute experience in the game. So I think starting out with something like really funny and really hooky, considering like you have all of those comedic chops, would be really, really effective.
Those are really helpful notes, everyone. Appreciate that.
I would totally agree with that, because I think it's, again, you that is where your experience is, so making sure that you're leaning into that strength of your experience, where it's like, yeah, we know what we're doing, we know comedy, we know how to create a funny and engaging story, so leaning into that as the strength. And also I just want to follow up on like the art comment as well, because it's like in terms of like the game's visual identity, I would make sure that you are constantly updating this deck with new art. So like as you go along, like you can have the placeholder art, you can have it like that, but every time that you pitch the deck, make sure that you just grab like the latest screenshot. Just have a slide that has like latest gameplay screenshot, and just keep updating it, because that will help. Basically, especially if you're using something like Google Docs and you're constantly keeping that up to date, live up to date, anytime that a publisher will go back and review it, they'll be like, oh, here's new art. You can just, keep updating it. And it's just a very easy way to keep anyone who might be reviewing the game in the know of like, hey, this is where the art style is at. And I think also in terms of the art, I would push it even further into like the silliness if you can. I think that at the moment it feels like you could go either way. It feels like you could go like, okay, we're gonna go for like a real polished art style, or we could go even further the other way. I think if you're gonna do this kind of art style, I would push it even further into just like the very comedical, like you mentioned South Park, but like go that far. Make sure that you have a distinct style that feels very unique and feels like the, again, visual identity of the game. And you would look at the game on Steam, you'd be like, that's dumb Sherlock. That's what you want to try and work towards now.
Yeah. Artem, do you have any more comments on Dumb Sherlock for the team today?
I completely agree with Claire about like dialing up to 11 with all the elements, because again, I mean, you are comedy writers, you know that much better than me. But looking at like pitch deck, I'm like expected to be like more and more surprised with every page. Same with the gamers, same with the customers. So the game must like shock on Steam page, must like surprise on every scene. So just don't be afraid with that, and also with the genre. You mentioned again great examples, but also like Fear of Laughing, right? Amazing game that basically break every rule for like RPG and for adventure, and it works because the adventure is the genre that allows you to do that. So here again, in visuals, yes, please dial up. In gameplay, in like any structure, something that you mentioned, like narrative structure. Again, I can imagine that we in the game with the dumb Sherlock, even like the dumbest possible structure gonna work like brilliantly. So yeah, love that, love the concept, and gonna play the prototype probably because it looks tempting.
I really appreciate this feedback, everyone. You are helping us refine this pitch, and I think we're in a better position to go out and sell the game after this.
Yeah, these are great notes. I think before we decided to make it a game, we pitched it for so long as a show, and we were much more focused on like the story of it and all that. And then because we're new to designing games, we've gotten so into the weeds of like how do we turn it into a game that maybe now we're too focused on that type of stuff. But I think you're right that the middle ground, where we're still pitching the story and the fun of it, but also telling you how it works as a game is probably the way to go.
It's kind of similar. Sorry, one the last question, my favorite question, because probably every time when we're talking about pitch or Steam page or like prototype or demo, it's every time the same. You have your goal basically is to sell the dream, and your pitch deck or your demo or Steam page, it's just a tool. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how exactly it looks like if it's selling the proper dream. In this case, selling dream for players and for publishers about like the most hilarious game in the world, as you said it. So again, your pitch deck basically could be like a one pager if it's selling this dream properly. Your Steam page can have like 0 screenshots, just a line of text, but if it's funny enough, it's gonna do the trick. So something that again important to keep in mind. There's like no rules as soon as you like actually achieving what you're aiming for, and it's great that you recognize that with like structure and everything. I understand that since like you're working on the game, it's also exciting, it's interesting, but the end goal here is to basically sell this dream. So yeah, please keep experimenting with that.
Oh, like we will keep dreaming.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. Great pitch.
Thanks for
Thank you all for having us.
Okay, guys, let's welcome Dmitrii, founder and game director from Solarsuit.Games. Dmitrii, welcome to How to Pitch Games. How are you today, sir?
Hi, nice to meet you. I think I'm fine. A bit nervous,
Awesome.
as always.
You're looking good. You're looking good. You're looking the part. Speaking of looking at Western parts, so you're pitching the CRPG to us today called Drake Frontier. It's got a sci-fi Western twist. We tend to see a lot of mixing of these historical and fantastical settings in indie games. Like, why do you think that's so effective in our industry?
It's clear opposites. Like sci-fi is something new that coming, and like this historical setting of like spaghetti western is something old. So, and humanity always in this fight of something new against something old. So we want to use these two opposites like to enhance our story, and we saw that it worked really great at Cowboy Bebop and Star Wars, for example, emerge from this clash of these two genres. So something like that, yeah.
Makes sense. Star Wars, one of the smallest franchises out there, so makes perfect sense. Didn't sell any games at all. Amazing. That's a great setup for the pitch. So let's get right into it.
Okay, welcome to Drake Frontier, our space western RPG. So you play as a prospector, abroad a massive sand crawler. You roam the desert, planet, visit various outposts, meet various factions, make friends and enemies, and eventually you try to uncover the truth behind the mysterious artifact you find in one of the caves. So, gameplay-wise, Drake Frontier is an isometric RPG with real-time combat. We use CRPG mechanics like branch dialogues and deep narrative, similar to Fallout and Baldur's Gate series, and we combine them with the top-down shooter mechanics, like in original Helldivers or Ruiner, for example. Some people in the community called us an isometric Mass Effect because of the combination of action and narrative. And speaking of narrative, we took inspiration from TV series like Firefly, The Mandalorian, and Cowboy Bebop to create our own unique world that combines sci-fi aesthetics with the feel of these spaghetti westerns. So, for meta gameplay, we're building it with different items that player can find during his journey, and with management of traits and flaws like perks. So, but the main driver of the game is a story. We're creating an interactive fiction that unfolds and changes with the player choices. So let's go to the production side. We're now finishing vertical slice stage with major mechanics almost ready, and it took us a while. I've started this game as a passion project with my friend back in 2018, and along this way, we've made several pivots. We learned how to make games. We connect with our partners and members, and eventually create like a video game studio called Solarsuit.Games. So our core team is great professionals with a huge experience, and our goal, our craft, is to create great atmospheric and narrative games. So together this August we've launched our debut project called Static Dread Lighthouse. It was made just in 10 months and it was sold with 35,000 copies. And now we have something like 800 reviews with very positive rating. And continuation of that game, The Submarine, is planned for the second quarter of 2026. And it is now in production. And also we always trying to understand the market, so we building our internal analytical software to better understand Steam. So I will get back there in a moment. And for Drake Frontier, we have several playtests and public demos, and already have like 25,000 wishlists. And I believe it could be our next big step in this our goal of creating awesome narrative games. So last year we've participated in Accelerator program, and right now we're looking for a partner to cover our production costs as well as helping us with marketing and publishing the game to the market. So speaking of numbers, I've mentioned that we have our own analytical software, so we bring some numbers to you. So on this chart, we try to analyze how the hype before release converts to the sales after release to make some KPIs for us. So we use reviews and top wishlist chart as the proxies for that. And every dot on this chart is a released game after October 2023. And we bucket them into like six, maybe even seven tiers by effort versus reward. So red bars are median values for RPG genre exclusively here. So tier 0 is lots of wish lists, lots of revenue, and tier 5 is an average indie that should be a hit to break the median. So Drake Frontier right now is in tier 4, and we're moving towards tier 3. And I believe with a great partner, we could target to tier 1 by the moment of launch. So that's all from my side. Thank you for having me here. In the corner is my LinkedIn QR code. So if you're watching this podcast and looking for a great game and great partner, drop me a message. And thanks again. It's a great opportunity to tell about my game. So yeah, I'm open to feedback.
Awesome. Dmitrii, thank you so much for the pitch. Let's kick it over to our panel for some thoughts. Let's start with the man himself, Artem. What do you think of Drake Frontier?
Thank you for the pitch, Dmitry. I liked a lot. I think that you nailed the structure. I think that it was pretty cool to see a lot of gifts, a lot of action. You explained everything like properly, and overall, I think pitch is extremely solid. Uh, I do have some comments. I think there could be some improvements, and probably the biggest one that right now it works pretty well with the person behind when you actually explaining, talking about the
Yeah,
game,
true.
but it's not that good separately. Doesn't really work without the context. Just for example, like really small one, all the cool features about the gameplay or that you said like Mass Effect, like top down. I would love to see in the pitch because when people gonna share it internally, the context gonna be missing. And right now we just traced like production pipelines without any details about the game. Uh, the game looks great, so I think that's missed opportunity to add like just a single slide. Uh, I do have more, but I would like to pass the mic to Claire. What do you think about the pitch?
Thank you for the pitch. It's really cool and exciting to see. These are the types of games that I love. I'm like a big Fallout, Mass Effect player and fan. So this is right up my alley. I think I kind of have very very similar comments where I think whenever I'm giving feedback to a pitch, I like to think, all right, well, what about this pitch did I not understand? And I think the main thing I didn't understand about this is understanding what the core gameplay loop is and understanding, hey, you're going to spend, this much time on your ship, this much time meeting characters, this much time in combat, this much time exploring, understanding what that core loop looks like. Again, as I mentioned, you could just have a one slide that kind of explains that. But I think with these types of games, it is crucial that you get a balance of like, okay, you're going to spend, your time doing, these things, and this is kind of like the core loop, and we want, players. I mean, even for example, you mentioned Baldur's Gate as an example. You have the long and short rests, so people can like gate their time spent in a big long RPG based on those certain things. So having a think about that and what you want to communicate as that core loop would be really, really helpful for people's understanding of the game, of the pitch.
Thank you.
Can we also like talk a little bit outside of the pitch, because I also checked your C page for the game, and I think that the thing that we're talking about, something that Claire pointed out, it's kind of reflected on your Steam page as well, because I think that I would say that right now it's a little bit abstract and it's a room for improvement, because
Mhm.
I think that you kind of playing a bit too safe when you're talking about the game to us, when you're talking about the game to players, because at the end of the day, the main goal for you is to sell a dream, right? To create this dream
Yeah.
for the players. And right now, I think that a player must understand exactly what they can expect, what they can play, and you know that every like good RPG always have this like, who are you, where are you, what are you doing, even if it's short. It's like not pointless. It's essential for building this expectation. And after providing this like pieces of information, even like every screenshots gonna tell you different story. So
Mm.
right now I think that you already have a lot in the game, but you're not building, not basically selling the dream properly
Mhm.
to the players. You're not utilizing the tool. So I think that you need to um, rethink that, rethink your positioning, rethink your Steam page, rethink what you're telling about the game in your pitch, and that's gonna improve it like dramatically.
Mm.
And another like really, really, really small thing. Right now, from your presentation, from your Steam page, I kind of see that the game called Drake before, and you changed it to Drake Frontier because you still have it on like Steam Capsule. You still have it like in Pitch. So yeah, please, like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a small thing, but it's need to be like polished.
Thank you.
Yeah. I actually just want to add to that as well, because again, from that perspective, you're wanting to sell a narrative, you're wanting to sell a story, you're wanting to sell a fantasy in any kind of like RPG. And I strangely enough, I think like one of the most powerful gifts or imagery that you have in your trailer is the one where there's the person with the cape that's like holding a gun, and they're kind of like moving around another person on I think just off the screen. That is very powerful, and it looks really interesting. And it's like, how do you sell? Who is this person? What is their story? What are they doing? And how do you sell, or not even sell that, but how do you like capture that in a way that makes people excited to learn more about this world and learn more about that character too?
Yep.
It may sounds like contradictory compared to our like usual recommendations, because we usually say like no one cares about the story, just straight to like gameplay. But it's really specific genre. It's really a specific situation, and here,
Inspiring to stars. Yeah.
yeah, it's essential. Again, maybe in business pitch it must be really short, but again, keep in mind that for publishers or partners, you need to sell the dream as well, right? Because this is the dream. Okay, yeah, we have such a great game, and we're gonna sell it like pretty nicely. Speaking about selling, yeah, let's move to another part. Claire, do you want to share anything else about it? Okay, we can move.
No, yeah, you kind of covered all my thoughts as well.
Okay, cool. Let's move to another slide about the budget. Can you open it? Is it like
1 second? Yeah. That one or previous
previous one?
with budgeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice slide. I kind of having a hard time here to understand what you actually need and what you want, because I think that the grayish numbers, like fund that you already invested and accelerator, it's kind of money that we don't care about. So you spend them. Okay, that's fine. What about others? You have marketing budget, you have acquisition budget. Do you need it from partner? Do you have it already? If you don't have it, if you need it, why it's like so specific? Maybe publisher want to spend more on marketing because that's RPG. Maybe it's like have to be like 200 or 300. So I think that this slide must be pretty clear, because it must be like easily understandable from one side. What do you need and how much money it costs to deliver the game? Maybe-
Production. Just production.
If you need money for production, yes, ask for this. But for marketing, localization, QA, you just can say that you need it. You don't need to put some number to that, right? So yes, we need marketing. Tell us what you got. I think that right now it's really confusing. Claire, what do you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm actually just like going to open up, because I help teams make pitches too. So I was just going up to like how I have advised people to structure that budget part before, because you want to you do want to show off, like you want to show that like, hey, we have gotten investment of funds from ourselves, from other sources. That's okay, but I think having a budget that breaks down where you think production budget is going to be spent, whether it's whether it's art or code, or whether it's marketing, and how you want to work with that. Because you might find that if you sign a certain kind of publisher, they'll be like, all right, well, we're going to do all of your marketing publishing for you, you don't need that budget. So that can kind of like, they can take that into their calculations when they are considering funding you too.
Okay.
Do you have any questions on that?
I'm just processing the info. Like I'm agree with your comments, and I think like if we show these numbers, it means that we expect them from someone. So it's probably for investor more to show that number. If we don't come with a publisher, we will do marketing and localization important stuff with ourselves. So this is how we estimate them if we will do it.
Yep.
And if And yeah, you also mentioned that this presentation lacked of some info that I speak. It is because I prepared the presentation just for showing by myself. So I try to prepare different versions of presentations. One that I sent to someone and one that I speak on stage, for example.
We need to tear it apart anyway, because
Yeah,
just
yeah. Sure.
Great.
Yeah. It's great to have a conversation about the presentation and how to prepare it. Yeah.
I like what you said about like having different presentations for different causes, because I think that's smart, and I think that's what everyone have to do, because as you said, if you're looking for investment and you ready to spend money on marketing or PR on your side, yeah, you need to have this number. If it's like publishing, you need to keep the discussion open. But overall, I think that readability on this slide could be improved. So yeah, this is something that you can.
Yeah, thank you. It's useful.
Claire, do you have any other slide that we need to talk about?
No particular slide in here, but something I would like to highlight that could be of, a pretty big benefit to you in your pitching is the game is already on Steam. So it's already been announced. I think having a slide, and I can see just from the Steam page that, you've got a decent amount of wishes, you've got a decent amount of followers. Having a slide that captures the fact that it's like, hey, like we haven't done a lot of, kind of capturing like this is how much marketing we've done, whether it's a lot, whether it's a little bit. This is how the response that we've had from people who have seen this game. We've got this many wish lists, we've got that many followers. We've had, this many articles, or here's a link to like a really cool reaction YouTube video, something like that. Really helps when you are pitching to investors or publishers for them to be able to see that like, oh, there is a market, there is an audience, people want this game. It's validating for your own.
Yeah.
I can just see by again looking at your Steam page that it's already got some market validation.
Do you have some market validation on this like slide? It's like the Steam data.
It's like just a short here, like the amount of wish lists. So yeah, I have slide in a bigger pitch that is not for 5 minutes and to scrap through, because yeah, we have slide with we were participating in Pixel Pitch by OTK, so we have Asmongold played our game just for a short time. So this screenshot and some participations in different events from our side and chart of wishlists. So yeah. It's an important slide, and I put it in a bigger presentation.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, right now, obviously, I think you know that in this case, it's not really working, because I had some comment that maybe you should do your presentation more mobile friendly, but at this point, I gave up when I saw this like really tiny picture with a lot of grass. Like, yeah, it's not possible anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with Claire. Anything that been already proven with the market, any data, anything. If you have playtime from playtest, amazing. Yeah, please share. If you have NPS score, fantastic. So yeah, first of all, you need to collect all the possible data if you already like put the game in the market. And second, you need to present, you need to share. So for us, it's not. I mean, first of all, it's case basis, right? But in general, if the game was already announced, what we're looking at. If it gets any organic traction, if it been picked up by social media, so if you have it, that's perfect. If you already have some viral stuff like TikTok's posts, Reddit, it's already great indicator that people are here, because this is what we want to understand. Like, just people care at this point.
Yeah.
If you have any proofs, perfect. Speaking about if, for example, people don't care yet, but we as a publisher can make them so by like changing anything, changing positioning, improving something. Would be great to have some internal metrics, for example, playtime or NPS score or any metrics that you get from playtest. Maybe even like with close playtest, you can have some feedback. So we are looking basically as a publisher as general audience react, and as people play in the game. Based on those two areas, we can build our predictions. We can see what could be improved. We can see what we can work with. If you don't have anything, we would have to make this measurements at some point, right?
Yeah. And what just while we're here, I want to ask some questions about this publishing site. What playtime do you think is awesome for indie game, on a demo stage or playtest stage?
That's a great question. Claire, do you have any numbers? Because I do, but I want to hear your opinion if you have any to share.
Depends on the game. So I think it's an awful answer where it's like, oh, it just depends. It depends on the game. But I think that if I'm looking just at Steam data of a demo that has been put, the indicators that I'm looking for that, hey, this is a good game, it's resonating with players, is median time of 30 minutes to an hour, and then an average play time of an hour plus on a demo. And as for a full game, that's again depends on the type of game it is. But if we're talking specifically about trying to get validation on a game demo or a game concept, that's kind of what I would be looking for to be yeah, this game is players are enjoying it. They're not just playing it for 20 minutes and then being nah, I'm not gonna come back. The other thing that you want to also look for is returning players. So players who have downloaded, played it once, and then come back and play it again. Especially if it's a live demo on Steam, you want to make sure that you're keeping an eye on how many people play the demo and they're like, oh, I want to go back and try something else or try something different. It's hard with the RPG, with a story game. If you have something that's a little bit more systems driven, it's a bit easier to get people coming back. So you kind of just have to take it as the game and what you would expect people to play. If it's a story piece and you only have 30-40 minutes of content, but people play the content all the way through to the end, that's great.
Yeah, I can only echo that. You really need to know what's the size of the chunk you're measuring, how much playtime you have, and then you see if you have a system-based game, our internal indicator that if you have 15 minutes, you're in trouble, median playtime. If you have around an hour, that's amazing. If you have more, that's great. So yeah, you kind of have this numbers in your head.
Thanks for bringing the game to the How to Pitch Games podcast.
Thank you very much for having me here. It was very great, and to learn some insights from you about your metrics. Yeah, thank you.
And that's a wrap for this episode of How to Pitch Games. We had some great pitches today. Thanks again to all the developers for sharing their work. Remember to show these devs some love, guys. Give them a follow and wishlist those games and get them on all their socials. If today's episode got you thinking about pitching your own game, we've got a great way to help you get started. We're thrilled to announce our partnership with DevGam, the host of Online Pitch, a monthly review session on their Discord server. It's a great way to get private, constructive feedback from industry professionals before stepping out into the spotlight. And the best part, the winner of each session will get a chance to be on this podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us for more updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on How to Pitch Games.